Have you ever felt your life is like a car in third gear, the engine calm, the speed steady, then all at once it is like someone pulls the handbrake, the wheels do not lock, but the drag is enough for us to hear a thin squeal in our head. In times like that, the old question pops up again: who am I in all these changes? And how much do I really control in my own life? I fell in love with coding in high school when I found that recursion is not just a way a function calls itself, but also a way to think. When I look at a big problem, I learn to cut it into small parts, solve the small parts first, then put them back together, like we take apart an old guitar to clean each fret. Dynamic programming taught me to remember what I had solved, so next time I would not waste work. Data structures made me care a lot about names and the right box to store things in. A linked list is not the same as a queue, because the answer must come out in the order we promised. Those things seem dry, but they made me feel life has rules, not just random noise. Later at work, I went through many languages and platforms. I wrote C# to be close to the machine, Java to be close to order, JavaScript to be close to the browser, TypeScript to be close to peace of mind, Ruby on Rails to be close to fast features, Python to be close to data science. I built the backend with Node, the front end with React, and trust with the team using clear docs. On the cloud, I set up data pipes with care, named things with care, turned on watch and alerts, and wrote down architecture choices like a diary of the system. The more I worked, the more I saw coding is really writing so the machine gets a command and writing so people get an idea. There was a time I wrote my blog often. Each post was only a few pages, telling a story about a nasty issue in the system on some Monday, or a small tip to clean code. I did not hope for much. I saw it like a small write in the workday, sit down, tell the story with care. Then a lucky accident came. A co-worker shared my post in an inside group. She sent it to a product manager. The manager sent it to a bridge engineer who worked with Japan. He quoted a part in a talk with a partner. The handoffs were like nodes in a network. Each node can make the signal bigger or kill it. The next week, my phone rang. At the first meeting, they did not ask much about tech. They asked why I cut feature A before feature B. I was surprised. They did not care about the name of the framework as much as how I set my order of work. It turns out that in many places, tech does not live alone. It lives inside a world of choices and deals. Some people said it was luck. Yes, but luck almost never falls into a closed pocket. It needs a surface to stick to. Writing a blog often means I am opening that surface. Go to a meetup, send a pull request to an open project, write down a tech choice. These are ways I put myself where the wind can blow through. In a wider view, our life is a network. In that network, impact does not spread in a straight line. It goes in strange loops, a friend of a friend. A weak tie, like a short talk with a stranger in a hall, can open a door that close ties cannot. The power of the thin lines is in their number and in their mix. But the network also has delay. There was a time I changed role. The system changed its shape, the company changed its plan. I used to say one line and the whole team would nod. Then I found I talked a bit long, drew a bit much, and people's eyes were unsure. It was like I had climbed to a new height and the air got thin. My gift for flow and talk and writing got dizzy at the height. It left with no note. I sat in front of the screen. The blinking cursor teased me. Then doubt rose up me. Maybe all this time it was just the right time, the right people, the right click. Maybe I did not even have that thing called talent. I saw that this feeling is very human. Long ago, we could work together because we could tell stories. We made up shared rules of the game, money groups, and rules, and then we all believed them so we could act. When the old story, I am good, I am fine, is bent by life, the brain lights up a question of self, so who am I? The question sounds deep, but the answer is sometimes more simple than we think. I do not need to define myself as a fixed label. I can define myself as a function. Input is the setting, output is the response. That function learns over time. After each fail, it tweaks a small knob. After each win, it tweaks a small knob. Bit by bit, it gets better. That day, after a messy afternoon of bugs, I chose not to sit and fight the blinking cursor. I walked to a small cafe I knew, ordered a black coffee, and set 2 small and sure tasks for myself. First, go back to core skill. Skill can be trained. I opened our deploy docs, wrote more where things were foggy, made service names clear, and put all the architecture choices into a chain of records. Second, open a window when a door shuts. The door is what I cannot control. Budget, plan, market moves. The window is what I can open, like teaching again at night, playing guitar to ease my mind, writing a short post to make one idea clear. Each window opens and the air in the room changes. Thanks to teaching, I met a group of young friends. One of them did delivery by day and went to theater practice in the evening. She read almost all my blog. She said some nights only one post about how to talk in a mixed culture was enough to help her keep going. She told me in 2 weeks she would have her first lead role on a small stage. I listened and went quiet. The network has unseen strings. We do not see them until someone brave enough says, "Your post helped me." I still remember that evening. She gave me a ticket. I teased her, "Is there anything inside the ticket box?" She smiled, "Yes. There is an empty space for you to put in what you want to see." That line flipped a switch in me. I thought about the Harpty boxes of life. Sometimes we open a new chance and see it is empty. It is not because someone forgot to put a prize in. It is because the system wants us to be the one to put it in. The empty box is an invite. Put effort in, put duty in, put a story in. An inside project I once did was just such an empty box. At the start, there were no clear asks, no numbers, no claps. I drew a clean deploy pipe, set up good watch and alerts, wrote docs like a story, and slowly sowed seeds in the group. A few months later, when another product had trouble, people came to that pipe as a way out. It turns out the patient things, the simple things, the do it right from start things will come back and save us on a bad day. One big lesson I learned while working in Japan is how to prepare the ground. In Japan, there is a way to make roots first. Sit down and talk one by one with those who will be touched by a plan before you bring the plan to the room. It is slow at the start but fast later. It cuts the rub in the people network. When I got this, I rushed less in meetings. Instead of jumping right to the fix, I walked a slow loop, stopped by each group, and heard what they fear and what they need. When it was time to decide, they had already nodded in their hearts. The main door was lighter. In that time in Japan, I also learned the worth of neat and clean. Not just a clean table, but clean ideas. A clean design doc has clear names, clear reasons, and clear limits. A clean process is one anyone can follow. I started small habits. Each morning I keep 45 minutes for deep work with no ping. Each day I try to finish at least one small change that is complete. For each big choice I write one page with 3 parts: the setting, the picks, the results. Small habits are the drivetrain of a big engine. I also went back to the guitar. At night, after I set the metronome to a slow speed, I practice a short part until my fingers go on the right path and do not strain. That feel of right path with no strain is what I look for in code and in life. Many times we think we need more fire, but we really need less drag, less noise, less trying to do many things at once. Slow down so we can hear the machine. Another time, my team had a live issue on a Monday morning. The data was off. The chart looked like a sharp mountain. People got scared. I said we should cut noise, only one channel for updates. Only one person to talk, only one whiteboard to note the timeline. Then we split in two, one group to put out the fire, one group to keep the rest of the house warm so other services still run. 2 hours later, the bug was alone in a box. By evening, the postmortem was done. There was no blame. It told the story straight, what early signal we missed, what view was lost because a group was not there, what bad guess we made. Next time we added one alert, changed one limit, and swapped one way to guard. It was not a bright win, but it was the kind of strong step that lasts, raised the chance of success a little for next time. Many people ask how to get past a time when words run dry. I have no magic trick. I have a few small helps. First, split making from judging. When you write, do not let the auditor sit next to the author. Let the author write 10 rough ideas, then let the editor come later and keep 3. Second, change the scene. If you sit in the same spot each day, walk 15 minutes and sit in a new cafe. The brain is a guess machine. It gets bored fast when the scene does not change. Third, fit the task to the right size. I once tried to write a book and failed, but I wrote 100 short posts, then saw they had become a book in another way. You can use the same way when you learn or build a product. Break it small, stack it up, then one day you will see the big shape. As for how much is luck, I see it like this. Luck is noise, but we can make a bigger surface to meet it. Make many small chances for it to touch you. Send a simple demo to 3 people. Give a 30-minute talk inside your group. Write one reply on a pro forum. Make a public repo with clear steps to run. It is like sowing seeds in many plots. You do not need every plot to sprout. You just need a few to sprout at the right time. The history of people and the history of our craft both move by small adds. At some point, the system changes phase. What was liquid turns solid. What was solid turns liquid. We call that a leap, but it is the end of 1,000 tiny grains before it. I also learned about the gain adds to gain effect. A person who gets one early chance, if they use it well, will get more chances more easily. This can look unfair, but it is the reason we should make the first chance for others. When I can pull someone up, I try, but giving them a hard task with a safe fence or giving them a chance to speak in a partner meeting, giving someone an early edge is a fine way to make the network more fair. And the strange thing is, when we do that, the network often sends back gifts beyond what we thought. Back to the show that young friend told me about. The stage was small, the seats were not full, the lights were a bit hot. She shook a bit at the start, then found the beat. There was one line she spoke that I still keep in mind. Thinking of it, I want to tear myself apart to be done. It sounds extreme, but it is true. Anyone who makes things has times they want to tear the current self so the better self can come out. After the show, we walked down a quiet street. She said at noon she had met me when she did a delivery and her knees shook. I laughed and said, I also shook the first time I talked with a client. No one is free from fear. Some people just learn to carry it like a backpack, heavy but known, and not the same as the self. The next day, I opened my laptop and wrote in one go a doc I had put off for weeks, a plan to split part of an old system into its own service. I wrote it like a story, why we need to split, how to split, what risks after the split, and if we fail, then what is the path back? For the first time in weeks, I felt the beat of right path with no strain. Sometimes we need someone else's show to see our own face again. A while after, the chain of links started again. Another group read the doc. They used it for their own problem. A team in another country sent thanks. A co-worker sent me a photo, a whiteboard in their office, where my plan was drawn again in their way. I sat and looked at the photo and saw many hands in it. My lines were just one part. When I see it this way, the idea of the author is less big. The flow is what matters. The story moves from one person to the next, changes color, changes beat, and keeps living. I often think of fame like a bit of powder on the tip of the nose. Others see it before I do. When I keep looking in the mirror to find it, I get nothing done. When I forget it and do a useful thing now and then someone taps my shoulder, hey, I think there is a bit of powder on your nose. Smile, nod, keep going. Put Put the weight on real work and real people. Other things, if they come, will come by themselves. In these years, I see myself as a system that learns for life. In the morning, I learn one thing about a spread out system. For example, why logical clocks help us see the order of events when we cannot trust physical time. At noon, I learn one thing about talk. For example, why one careful open question can be better than a fast answer. At night, I practice a short part on the guitar. For example, why the left hand should shift before a beat. These small learnings give me green ticks each day. A day with many green ticks will beat one big red tick. A calm mind comes from the mix, not from a life with zero trouble. And when trouble comes, I try to go back to 3 things. 1. Cut noise. Turn off pings. Turn off vague fear. Turn off false hope. 2. Look at the network. Who can help me see a corner I cannot see? Who will be touched by my choice? 3. Do one small thing that is whole. Fix one bug. Write one page. Finish one step. Complete is a cheap and good pill for worry. Once, a student asked me, how can I not fear that I am not good? I said, do not try to not fear. Learn to lift the fear out and set it by your side. Like you set a bag on a chair, then take it with you into class. Fear is a sign you are at the edge of your skill. That edge is where learning happens. Do not step back. Do not rush in. Go slow but steady. One small step each day, and after one season, the ground is not the same. If you ask, who am I no longer answer with a name card engineer, lead teacher, guitar player. I like to answer with a path. I am someone who chooses to tell useful stories and turn them into systems that run. I believe in simple fixes, in clear docs, in clean deploy pipes. I lived in Japan and learned care and how to set the bass. I use music to balance words to link people and knowledge to cut the fog. I believe that each day, if I raise the chance of a good thing by a little, by a clean line of code, a thank you at the right time, a story told with care, then over time, the line of my life will bend the way I hope. And I am also someone who accepts that some days things will stall. A stall is not a full stop, it is a comma. A comma so I and all of us can take a breath, check the knobs, look at the network, and tune 1 or 2 dials. When a door closes, I open a window. When the box is empty, I put my best self into it. When luck has not come yet, I go stand where the wind is. When my gift gets dizzy at height and leaves, I step down 1 step, fix 1 small bug, and do 1 good thing for my team. The height will come back in a calm way. The night before a big hand over, I woke near midnight, opened my notebook, and wrote 1 line to myself. Do not chase the powder on the nose. Listen to the machine. The next morning, things did not go perfect, but they were good enough. A few small bugs still showed. A few spots still needed tuning, but the flow was clear. Thank you notes came. A message came from a friend far away. A photo came that showed how they used what I made in their own way. And on another night, I sat in a hall and watched that young friend play a new role. The lights were still hot, the seats still not full, but my heart beat lower and more even. If I must wrap it up, I will say this. You and I live in a network of people and ideas. A network where small signals add up to big change. The question, who am I, does not need a fixed answer. It needs a way to live each day. Put 1 good thing into the empty box in front of you, open 1 more window, rewrite 1 story to make it clearer, and pluck 1 note to make it true. The rest, the wind, the luck, the powder, let them do their work. We do our part. Then on some normal afternoon, someone will knock and hand you a ticket. You open it, and it is still the same empty box. You smile, and you know what you should put in next.